This is Glow in the Dark Radio. The science fiction podcast with original independent science fiction written and performed by Mike Luoma, with music by Kevin MacLeod. The Vatican Assassin Trilogy and The Adventures of Alibi Jones by Mike Luoma are available in ebook, trade paperback, and audiobook wherever you find your books online. Get links and details at glowinthedarkradio.com. This is the Science Fiction Podcast, Glow in the Dark Radio. I'm your host, your writer, and your narrator, Mike Luoma, and I've got Chapter 21 of Vatican Assassin, Special 15th Anniversary Edition audiobook. We'll hear Chapter 21 as BC is stuck in Vatican City on this episode. BC has completed his job. As Chapter 21 begins, he sort of finished the Fortune Station job. I mean, really, Father Kim did it for him, but the light is dead. And BC is now, awaiting word from Pope Peter II as he kind of stews at Vatican City. BC's going to find out what his next mission might be. BC would like to get back to Lunar Prime. He was kind of beginning to like the place, so we'll see what happens. That's coming up in Chapter 21 of Vatican Assassin, Special 15th Anniversary Edition, as we listen to the audio version, which does have some very special guest cameos, but no cameos in this chapter. More are on the way, I do promise. Before we get to that, a little bit of book news. I want to remind you that the paperback compilation of all of Alibi Jones's stories, the chronological omnibus paperback, over 800 pages in paperback, that is still available for just $4.94 at Amazon. Same price for the Kindle and for the paperback. I don't know why Amazon is doing this, but I want to let you know about it. And it's just the Alibi Jones chronological omnibus that they're doing this for. So I don't know if it's a glitch or what, but if you want to get a huge book for under $5, there it is. It's still there at Amazon. I want to thank my patrons for supporting this podcast. Man, I need the support right now. My furnace actually has died in my house in Burlington. So, yeah, having all kinds of fun dealing with that, I can tell you. So, yeah, if you want to become a patron, now would be a great time. Support the podcast and my efforts here. You can do that by going to patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio. And I have 3 levels of membership support for the podcast at $2, $5, and $10 a month. So if you feel like pitching in a little bit, I can use your help, especially right now. And again, thank you to my patrons who do support the podcast for helping me keep this going every month. Oh, speaking of help, for no cost at all, but yes, does demand a little bit of effort, I would like to ask if you could leave reviews of any of my books that you've purchased. If you picked up any of my books, or even, this podcast, wherever you're listening to this podcast, if you could rate, or even better, rate and leave a review of the book or the podcast, that would be fantastic. I'm an independent author, independent publisher. I don't have a marketing department, so I depend on word of mouth and good word of mouth to get my books out there. So I'm hoping if you do like what you're hearing, if you've liked what you've read, please, I hope that you'll leave a review somewhere and let other people know that they can listen to my stuff or read my stuff and enjoy it. Speaking of, do have a couple things out there that are free if you want to pick up the ebook to this story that we're listening to. Vatican Assassin, the Special 15th Anniversary Edition ebook is free. And the Alibi Jones, first novel in the Alibi Jones Chronicles, Adventures, Alibi Jones, self-titled, I guess. That ebook is free all the time as well. Neither of those is free at Amazon because they don't play nice. But everywhere else, those books are free, whether it's Rakuten Kobo or Apple or Google, wherever you find ebooks beyond Amazon, Kindle, you will find those ebooks for free. Otherwise, they're 99 cents, like most of my ebooks are. We'll head down to Vatican City and check in on BC as we get into Chapter 21 of Vatican Assassin, next on Glow in the Dark Radio.
Are you having trouble keeping up with the ebbs and flows of modern geekery? Is the real world holding you back from knowing what is happening in the geeky world? To answer these and other personal problems brought in by your friends, gaming group, and loved ones, Geek Radio Daily presents daily informational sessions brought to you by the wonderful Billy Flynn, the Flynnstress, and podcasting's Rich Siegfried. They contain such helpful segments as history, geek birthdays, box office results, the latest in DVD and Blu-ray, video game and comic releases. Why, they also have a Sweekly show hosted by the wonderful Billy Flynn and the Flynnstress, which includes interviews and commentary. And to make sure you are informed, Geek Radio Daily also provides you with your daily dose of geek news to make sure you know more than that jerk know-it-all Steve. Visit us at geekradiodaily.com. That's right, Geek Radio Daily. All the geek without the weight. Now available in fine Corinthian leather.
Now here's Chapter 21 of Vatican Assassin, the special 15th Anniversary Edition, on Glow in the Dark Radio. I love Vatican City and St. Peter's Square in the morning. I never get over the way you can feel the history, the grandeur, and the great age of the buildings. History seems to resonate from the ancient architecture, the old stones, like you could reach out and touch it, maybe get transported back through time. BC sits on the windowsill of his borrowed apartment in the Vatican. From his perch, he surveys the mishmash of ancient and modern that makes up Rome and Vatican City. As he looks out the window at the external world of Rome, he contemplates the nooks and crannies of the interior Vatican City grounds. The Belvedere Gardens are beautiful, perfect place to sip an espresso and contemplate the day. You know, that sounds like a plan. Funny, used to seem like time stood still here. Guess that changed when the attacks started. Now time has caught up with a vengeance. The old police residence is badly damaged. There was some damage to St. Peter's and the square. Even the garden suffered. Nothing's untouched. Everything seems more fragile now, somehow. BC watches tourists pass by on the street below. There are fewer pilgrims out here, I'm told. Fewer every day since the attacks began hitting Vatican City. At least they're rebuilding, hoping it's not in vain, that it won't just get knocked down again by the UIN. They've done some repair work, but there are still so many places where the bombs hit, the lasers burned, still a lot of black marks on the landscape not yet healed. Ancient stones on top of each other for centuries have been knocked down, leaving gaps in the old walls like missing teeth from a smile. Although I don't know why you'd be smiling if you were missing that many teeth. I wonder what bothers the Curia more, the damage to the ancient buildings or the dropping cash flow from the tourist trade. They'll probably sell tickets to tour the ruins after things calm down, to make some money back, cover their losses. That's what I'd do, come to think of it. BC wanders by the commissary and picks up an espresso, intending to make his way over to the Belvedere Gardens for his contemplated stroll. He brings the cup up to inhale the strong aroma of the coffee, feels the warmth of the glass on his fingers and palms as he breathes in the aroma. Certainly one of this place's best features. Campion? Fuck. BC throws back the espresso like a shot and turns to face Marino. Must already be time. Shit, I thought I had a while longer before the meeting. One last tongue-lashing from the big guy. Cardinal Marino stands with his hands folded in front of him on the white bib of his traditional crimson robes, staring at BC. "He'll see you now. Please hurry, he's in a mood." "Wonderful." "Righto. He's in the public meeting room, 3rd floor." "Thanks." BC heads off to see the Pope. As he walks, his thoughts turn to the moon. I can't wait to get back to the moon. This place is oppressive and boring. I used to love it here. This was my home base. Now it seems stuffy, dead, and lifeless, boring. At least on the moon I have something to do. Not that they couldn't find busy work for me here, if I was going to be here longer than just these last 2 weeks. There's so much authority represented here, it makes me itch. Not my kind of place, for sure. The food is great, and the espresso, but everything else, I don't know. I'd say it's too old, but that's not it. Not entirely. Even in St. Peter's, even looking up at the ceiling of the Sistine, I don't feel the same sense of, I don't know, holiness, I guess, that I felt on that stupid space station. How much of that is drug-related? They dosed me with a lot of funky psychotropics and made me their new messiah. Kinda. Wild. And now here I am, back in the Vatican. I wonder how Kim is doing with his messiahship. Hope it's going smoothly for the guy. I'd check in, but there's no way for me to get through to him from here. I've tried. Communications office says it's a no-go, whatever that means. At least they let me talk to the moon. Mark Edwards seems to be doing well. Turns out he's a real friend. Kept calling the Cardinal to ask where I was. Good to have a friend like that for a change. BC is lost in thought as he walks. He nods as he passes random functionaries in the halls as he gets closer to the Pope's meeting room. Some shoot him disapproving, officious glances. Some merely ignore his passing. It's weird. Compared to Kim and even the crazy old light himself, everyone here seems like a businessman, not a holy man. They may be drugged up and crazy on Fortune Station, but they seem, I don't know, more real, more authentic. Yeah, more holy, I guess. Holier than the big guy, anyway. Gotta brace myself for the bitch out. BC walks into the antechamber of the pontiff's meeting hall. The Pope's secretary, another priest, looks up and nods at BC. "Father Campion, go right ahead in. He's waiting for you." He waves him by. BC opens the heavy wooden door in front of him and walks into the papal meeting room, where Pope Peter II awaits. He is seated in an ornately carved dark wooden throne. The stark white official robes of his office contrast sharply with his ebony skin. Sharp, piercing brown eyes light up his face and size up BC.
"Bernard, good to see you."
"And you, sir?" Peter stares at BC, not saying anything. BC shifts his weight as he waits under the pontiff's gaze. A minute? 5 minutes? How long is...
"I said we'd talk again before you leave. You have questions?"
the old man finally asks him. "Some."
"You leave today, don't you?"
"I'm going back to the moon this afternoon."
"And you want to know what's up, no doubt. I can understand that."
He pauses, his eyebrows arch up.
"That is what your questions are about, aren't they?"
"Well, yeah. Am I in or out?"
"You wouldn't be here if you were out."
BC gulps. I see." Pope Peter looks him square in the eye.
"Yes, I see you do. You're still in for now."
He shifts in his chair, smooths his robes, and looks back up at BC.
"For now."
"There haven't been any new revelations made by the UIN, have there?" BC protests. "I found no evidence of any exposure in my own investigating over the last 2 weeks here. Nothing in the news, no new statements. Was there something through secure channels?"
"No, nothing like that. They haven't said anything more than they did originally. But I believe they're holding on to the information, Peter says with a heavy sigh. If they have it. Don't kid yourself. You know they've got something. She got you on camera calling in here, didn't she? Yeah, I think so. She had it in front of her when I looked up. Your cover is blown on some level, unless she didn't hit record or something foolish like that. Are you that lucky? I'm still here? BC grins sheepishly. Right. For now, Peter repeats. BC stops grinning. Peter continues. But know this. The knowledge they have of you, the evidence they have, is a weapon they can use against you. Against us. Against... Peter looks around the room and beyond. All of us. The church, the UTZ, the earth, the moon. That's a powerful weapon. If I had a weapon like that, I wouldn't use it until the time was just right, when it would do the most damage. I imagine the UIN are probably thinking the same thing. They are being patient with their information bomb. And if nothing else, the UIN has shown us throughout the years that they can be very, very patient. So what then, I'm a time bomb? Pope Peter laughs. Yes, I guess you are. Good analogy. Well, bad analogy, too. He stops laughing and frowns. So, you want me to keep laying low? I can't get much lower than I just was. Yes, I know. That was good. Peter smiles, looks BC in the eye. You were off the radar entirely. And you did the job where others had failed. And you left there in charge of the place. That was very good, Peter says. BC tries to take the compliment. Well, kind of in charge, BC says. There's one of them, Father Kim, who's really in charge. I'm a figurehead. I will have to go back there from time to time, though, to keep up appearances. Keep the place under our control. Right, Peter says. For a moment, he seems distracted. Oh, yes, he says, as if remembering something. While you've been recuperating here these last 2 weeks, I've been thinking about what we can do with you. I've decided to assign someone to work with you. No fucking way. Work with me? I work alone, period. I don't need a partner, BC protests. Relax, Peter admonishes him. I don't mean a partner. But Cardinal Anderson tells me you're not much of a priest. What the? I don't need this shit again. Not from this guy. BC starts to protest, but Pope Peter just keeps talking. I'm assigning you a trainer of sorts, a tutor, to work with you on your presentation, Peter says. Pope Peter draws close. BC can smell sour garlic on his breath as he leans in. Your cover has to be complete, impenetrable, he whispers. You snicker, you shouldn't. You need to be convincing as a priest, or you fail. He almost spits out the last word. He looks around, as if looking for spies in the shadowy corners of the room. Your cover won't hold up for a second. You need to work on plausibly presenting yourself as a priest, Peter declares. He draws back away from BC, looks down at his desk. I've got someone in mind who'll be perfect. I've already assigned her. She'll join you on the moon in a couple of days. This is not good. I don't know, sir. Yes, you do know. You know you'd better follow my orders. And this is an order. Just in case there was some confusion on your part. This is part of your job, Campion. She'll be reporting back to my offices, too. So don't think you can blow this off once you're out of here. I believe you'll find the Reverend Swan to be quite, well, persistent. Yes, quite persistent, he chuckles. She'll have you whipped into shape in no time.
Wonderful. Can my life get any more annoying?
You can go now. Remember, keep your profile as low as possible. Be a quiet little priestly PR person for now. In the Cardinal's shadow. Keep him out in front for us up there. And say a mass once in a while, for Christ's sake. Peter chuckles again. For Christ's sake. Love the pun, he mumbles. BC can feel Marino enter the room and move up behind him. BC bows to Pope Peter. Peter extends his right hand, ring thrust forward. Aw, Jesus, this sucks. BC leans forward and kisses the ring on the Pope's finger. Marino clears his throat as BC straightens. Your Holiness, BC says, and nods to Peter. He turns and is face to face with Marino. I can't go anywhere with this one in my way, BC says in a loud voice. First, let him go. We're through here, Peter says. Marino, the first, keeps his eyes locked on BC's as he steps out of BC's way. BC smiles his best fake smile. Thanks ever so much, he says to Marino, words dripping with sarcasm. Without glancing back at Pope Peter, he brushes past Marino, walks across the room, out the door, and down the hall. No looking back. Well, that was plain. Fuck up and you won't be here anymore. I certainly took here to mean alive here. Lovely people I'm messed up with. Capian, where are you stomping off to? Mbeke, didn't even see him. Lost in thought. Haven't seen him since I've been back. Mbeke, how are you? I am well, BC. I heard you did well on Fortune Station. Good job. Kept a low profile and took out the objective. I must have taught you well. Well. Well, I wouldn't take any credit for my performance of late if I were you, Mbeke. My star ain't exactly rising around here right now. Your situation is precarious. I pray for you, BC. You're kidding, right? No. There are some things I take seriously, despite appearances otherwise. You do well to remember that. And also remember, I am your friend, as you have proven to be mine in the past. Thanks, Mbeke. BC notices an awkward silence as he doesn't say anything else. Neither does Mbeke, but neither of them moves. Until Mbeke speaks. The new governor on the moon appears to be your friend as well. He was rather persistent in his calls after you. He's a good man, Governor Edwards. Not really a politician at all. Is he gay? What a question. I don't think so, Mbeke. Besides, you know I'm not. Yes, more's the pity. That Edwards is quite handsome. He is single, Mbeke. I don't know if he's gay. If it ever comes up in conversation, I'll let him know you're interested. I only said he was persistent. I thought it was cute how he worried about you. I don't know if he's your type, BC shrugs. Too bad. It's been a long time. Well, off with you then. Mbeke gestures with his hands. Don't you have a plane to catch? Your concern is touching, Mbeke. My ship leaves soon. It was good seeing you, BC. Remember, keep... I know, a low profile. Gotcha. Later, Mbeke. BC laughs and heads back to his apartments. He's got about an hour before he leaves for the flight to the spaceport. Well, so much for the Belvedere Gardens. No time for quiet contemplation. Arrivederci Roma. Of course, I don't have much to pack. It'll be good to get out of here. That was Chapter 21 of Vatican Assassin on Glow in the Dark Radio. Back to the moon for BC. BC knows he's on a sort of papal probation, but he at least gets to go back to Lunar Prime to work on his cover. We'll see how he does keeping a low profile and acting more like a priest. And we're going to meet his new helper in doing so, coming up in our next chapter. So I hope you'll be back for Chapter 22
of Vatican Assassin, the special 15th anniversary edition. A reminder, as far as book news goes, you can get the ebook of this book free pretty much everywhere except for the Kindle and Amazon. They will not do a price break there, so it's 99 cents there. But everywhere else, the Vatican Assassin 15th anniversary edition ebook is available for free. So is the Alibi Jones ebook. The original novel in the Adventures of Alibi Jones is available for free all the time, everywhere except at Amazon. Amazon is giving a price break on the Alibi Jones paperback, though. A reminder, you can get the chronological omnibus, The Adventures of Alibi Jones, for just $4.94, under $5 for over 800 pages of Alibi Jones. Again, that's at Amazon. Same price for the paperback and the Kindle. Speaking of Amazon, or wherever you get your book, please, if you could, leave a rating, or even better, a rating and a review of the book if you liked them. Help me spread the word. I could use your help. That'd be great. And speaking of help, if you can become a patron, even better. $2, $5, or $10 a month goes towards keeping this podcast going and helping me get the books out and everything else. So, again, you can do that at patreon.com/glowinthedarkradio, or just go to glowinthedarkradio.com. That is all for this week. We will go back to the moon with BC on our next episode of Glow in the Dark Radio. Thank you for listening. Glow in the Dark Radio. This podcast presentation is copyright 2023 by Michael F. Luoma and is protected under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License, CC by NC-ND 4.0. Music by Kevin MacLeod. You can find his work at incompetech.com. Mike's books are available in ebook, paperback, and audiobook, wherever you find books online. Get links and more details at glowinthedarkradio.com and mikeluoma.com. This has been a presentation of Glow in the Dark Radio.